welcome back. Thanks for coming back, man.
Absolutely. Missed it.
It's been a minute since we worked together, and we're definitely that's going to happen again. We're working on this podcast, but we're also working on some other like level ideas to this show that we're calling it. It's not just a podcast; it's a show, and we have some pilot things that we're going to try to do that we'd love to have you in on. From a collaboration standpoint.
Absolutely.
So part of the mission I was talking to you about was, we're wanting to encourage people to collaborate and create more. I think what's missing some in this is showing people in a digestible way, the creative process, but from a collaborative standpoint. And the back and forth, the positive, the neutral, the negative, I thought I had the chorus. Wait, hold on, you just said that, or you just played that chord, or whatever it is. Having the players and the right players in the room, but opening it could be if we could be failing the first time, but maybe the second time around we have something that actually really means something, and not only that, we have the content and the people on the team to edit it to make it in a digestible format, so people can see it as like, oh wow, like. Not only do I like the song, but I know the story behind it now. Like, I know the people behind it.
People love seeing the process.
Yeah. And it's not retrospective. It's the real, raw thing.
Yeah. In the day of AI.
Yeah.
Yes. The more humanity we can, shove into stuff, the better.
Yeah.
It seems like. I literally yesterday was talking to a guy I was working with, and over the last couple of months, literally every session that I've been on, the work tape or the demo, we've been chasing an AI version of it. I'm seeing it now. And the artists or the writers or whoever and the publisher, they're all like, we really like the vibe of what this sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going, it was just literally generated from a sentence. It's a homogenized tonal something that a computer, servers or whatever, kicked out. And I mean, arguably, you could say, like, if it's a pop song, nailed it, killed it. And even some of them have great melodies and everything, and it's getting better exponentially, almost day by day. So I was talking to this guy yesterday, and we're like, do I have a career next year? Is computer going to take the place of it? What's going to happen? I'm trying to figure all that stuff out and leverage, some of the tools, because I think people are going to want authenticity. I sure hope they do.
I think people are going to hear it too.
Yeah.
I think maybe right now there's some, like, for some people there's some level setting that they have to get used to. But the more and more you look at something that's machine made versus handmade, you can tell the difference. And I get that AI is getting better and there's more and more training data, but we were talking on our other podcast but we have the heart, human has the creative heart that's able to pivot. It's able to still show that blood, that lifeblood.
Well, and it's going out and basically just creating a homogenized, it's borrowing from all the stuff that's been recorded.
Right.
So it's not really creating anything new.
Yeah.
It's just going, I'm getting little bits and pieces and bits and bobs from here and there and throwing this new gelatinous blob together that sounds like A, B plus C plus D plus E. So if anything, that forces me to go, what kind of sounds, what kind of stuff that's really outside the box that doesn't fit into the search data of the LLM or whatever it's working. What's
your pivot, I guess, from a sound, like sounding different?
I'm trying to figure all that out. I mean, if anything, you have to flex into some new places, because there is a thing that is almost a formula that people, they want to hear, and trends kind of change with writing. There was a time where I was writing a lot of pop stuff with people, and there was a lot of rapid fire, like verses, almost rapped and very alliteration based. And then you would have hooks that had a certain thing, or they used a lot of vocal samples in certain ways. And that kind of changes and moves. And man, anymore, I don't know what's happening now. I'm just kind of going, all right, God, do you want me to continue in this crazy business? If so, how do I do it? What do I bring to the table now that the technology is whooping up on everybody?
Do you use it like Suno and stuff?
Mm-mm.
No.
I played around with it on a track I did before where I had started with samples. I was a big fan of Fatboy Slim. If anybody knows Fatboy Slim, he did big beat stuff out of the UK. He's from like Brighton and had a few kind of big hits, but it was very sample oriented with these big beats underneath it. And I wanted just to do a Fatboy Slim song, so I dug around. I looked through all of my vinyl and I found none of it worked, but I found some stuff that was like public domain stuff that I chopped up, and then I found a big chunk of a record that was some old soul record from like 1962 off of a label that doesn't exist, from an artist that doesn't exist. And once I pitched it, changed it, cut it all up, I called my friend Chelsea, who's a genius with all this stuff, and I used it in the work tape, and she goes, "That's really cool, but somebody still might recognize it." I'm like, so I had to painstakingly recreate those samples. And I did use a thing, I fed it the sample and said, make something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it recreated it. Then I added my stuff on top of it.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to have that sort of crunchy, like I lifted it off a vinyl kind of sound. So I've used it for that. Sorry, that was a really
No.
long, quite loquacious answer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I now use it in like the, what do you call it? Ozone. The
Mastering.
Oh yeah, the little mastering plugin.
Yeah, thing. It looks like the Aurora Borealis to kind of check your EQ curve.
Yeah.
It's saved my butt on many of occasions. But
yeah, I mean, I think there's a use for it. It's just, are you looking to it for vision, or are you using it to captivate your vision? That's, I think, where the humanity gets lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that we're kind of in this weird transition of like, okay, what is this? This is pretty cool. But what you just described was
a tool.
Well, but originally you described we started with a sentence and ended up with this thing that now we're chasing.
Oh, yeah. That's, yeah. And what's crazy is you don't have to write the song anymore. The AI will write the song. So, all the publishing people or the lawyers, are just standing in the hallway right now, just wringing their hands, just waiting to get involved. Who owns the copyright?
Right.
Do you switch a couple of words and then does Suno own half of the song, or how does that all work?
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've found that's interesting too is, I don't know if it was the last time we worked together, but remember when I did bring you that Reimagine track?
Yeah, I do remember. It was cool.
Yeah. But what is nuts, so you hear a lot about, it's all about the prompt, when you're typing into LLM.
Mm-hmm.
But also, like, if you're feeding audio, that's part of the prompt. Like, if you're feeding, like, a sample or something that's, like, not that well done, it's still not going to be, the AI is still not going to do that great. But if you feed it a really nice audio, like, nice track, and say, screw it up or make it some other genre, dude, it won't do perfect, but it'll do pretty decent for, like, changing up, like what we did, for the demo. Like, it gave you a reference. It had some extra fingers in there.
Yeah, like your guitar player's got 14 fingers.
Yeah. But I
had a guy send me this yesterday of my logo.
Yeah.
He said I took 3 minutes. He found my logo online and he animated it to where there was this little jazz chord, and the bug starts playing, and then it turns around and grins at you. And he's like, "You should use this." And he goes, "It took me all of 3-4 minutes to do this."
That reminds me of Matt Scott.
Yeah.
The listening room and how they have like the 3 writers in a picture.
Yeah.
Well, he got it to animate to where they're like all in the pictures. They're all like moving around with beers and whatnot. It's wild.
Y'all,
times are wild.
I'm old, so this all just, it freaks me out. All of it freaks me out.
Yeah, you're blessed. You're going to be out of here before it all goes
Yeah, before
down.
it all just goes south. Man.
I don't know, man.
We'll see.
I remember waiting outside of record stores to go buy the first record, that one in 76. We used to draw that guitar, spaceship with the blue flame on our like homework in high school. I was not even high school, it was junior high. And we would do that stuff. Or Frampton Comes Alive. I think I wore that record out. When I was back home just recently, I found a whole box of still working 8-tracks. Kiss, Destroyer, Foghat, all these old bands, the Beatles, stuff on 8-track. I can't imagine. Still worked.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. What a format. Halfway through a song, and then it fades back in again. It was 1/4-inch tape, though.
So let's rewind the tape a little bit. Okay, my perspective, you're a bit of a multi-tool in town. You write.
You're a tool. You're a tool.
Yeah. No, like the Leatherman multi-tool.
I like Swiss Army
kind of
knife.
do everything a little bit. You goes produce. I don't know if that's
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah, just in time for Halloween. Even though this is coming out in like December, but hey, you produce, you are an instrumentalist, killer keys player, songwriter. Yeah. We'll get that in show.
Vocalist, tubaist,
Yeah.
tubaist,
Tuba.
tuba.
We did this previously, but could you just like, for the audience, just what is it that you do?
It's funny. My family asks me that same question every day. No, I moved out here to be an artist originally because that's what I'd done. I started at about 14, which I found some old cassette tapes of me performing at 14. I don't think I'd gone through puberty yet. It was like, hey, everybody, can y'all hear me out there? It was that. And I thought, 14, man. Anyways. But moved here in 1989 thinking that's what I would do, and learned pretty quick that wasn't really what I wanted to do. I think that's what everybody expected me to do. But I like the behind the scenes stuff too much. I mean, it's always awesome to be on stage and people cheering and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I've been around folks they have to have that. They have to be the center of attention in a room. They have to be that person.
Wasn't you?
No, I'll sit back in the corner and observe. That's my thing. And kind of analyze and tweak and look at and break everything into pieces and, analysis. That's the way my brain works. But yeah, I moved out here with that intention. I had an 8-track reel-to-reel, kids. Yeah, with a little mixer and a couple of keyboards and a microphone, and worked at a clothing store when I first moved here for a while, and finally got a break to play he's a great songwriter. He was a great artist too. And he had a deal for a minute on, I think it was Columbia, but it's Marcus Hummon.
Oh yeah.
Marcus is just a genius artist all around. Painter. He writes musicals. He's brilliant. But he was doing some gigs, and I got an opportunity to try out to play for him. And we played a bunch of places around town. Actually did a little van tour with the trailer and the whole nine. Got to work on his record. But it was you start off meeting a few people, and you ping pong around from this person, you meet this person, you meet this person. And it just kind of grew from that. And I fell into playing some sessions, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. I can just go. I never intended to do that, but I can go play music for a couple hours, and someone's paying me to do what I like doing anyway. So that's cool. I can quit the, selling ties and suits and that kind of crap. But yeah, it's 36 years of doing it now, and something I never really intended to do as far as the session thing. And that was my bread and butter. I did the road thing for about a year and a half. And that was the final nail in the coffin as far as me choosing to be an artist or not, because I did not care for it too much. The stage part was fine. It's all the travel. It's dealing with the people. I had roommates that, you talk about odd couple. I mean, crazy stories. Stuff you can't do now because of social media.
Yeah.
Stuff that guys could get away with, they can't really get away with anymore.
Yeah. And you said, but you're still traveling every now and then, right? You're doing you said you were doing a writer's camp or something?
Yeah, that was a really weird thing. John Mays, who runs, actually, he's the head of A&R, I guess, or president of A&R, whatever the title is, for a Christian music label. And I've known John and respected him for ages. He's worked for several different labels in town. We occasionally get together and just have coffee and talk about life and stuff. And I told him a little bit what's, the explosion that my life is right now. And he says, man, you should come out to us to Washington State. We have this writers camp we've done every year for 20 years, every other year for like 20 years. And he asked me like 2 months in advance, and I was like, okay. It was awesome. And I was kind of a guest with a few other people, like to write, I guess. I didn't even know why I was going, frankly. But I thought, I get out of town. This guy that owns this property, we drove through the Cascades. I mean, it's beautiful up there. We were in the high desert. Has this like 10,000 square foot cabin, and then a guest building next to it with a tunnel that connect them.
Same.
Oh yeah, you got that too? It's very James Bond.
Yeah, well, I don't talk about it much, but
and there were 2 or 3 sort of ancillary properties down the hill that I think there were probably 40, something like 40 people there. A lot of which that Centricity is the label. They were looking for potential new artists, so that's how they find stuff or find people. And in the mornings, they'd have like a devotional type of deal. That was great. And then they'd have speakers that either talked about marketing or about legal or publishing and all this kind of stuff. And then they'd break out for the afternoon into people who would just pair up and write. And we were there 5-6 days. I think I wrote 5 or 6 songs with people.
Nice. And
which I hadn't done really in a while. And then the very last night they do kind of a party and people will play something. And I played for several of the people on piano that were there. There's a studio on the premises, and it was great. But yeah, it's when I was there on a Sunday morning, I got a text from my sister who's like, call me when you get a chance. I never get a text from her on Sunday mornings, and I thought, what's going on at home? That's another subject, but yeah. What was the original question? I'm out of it today.
Well, you were starting to say just kind of your path and where you were was, you moved to town to be an artist. You fell into the session work a lot.
Yeah.
So would you say that was like the majority, big chunk time-wise, that was like the majority of what you have done in town?
That's the thing, career-wise I did. I had an event happened probably 12 years ago. I was leaving a session late. We'd gone late. We were playing a bunch of bro country stuff. I just remember that. I'm loading up my car. I get in the car. I barely get out of the parking lot, and this big voice in my head just goes, "That's it." And it was almost like a voice in the car that wasn't mine. It freaked me out. I thought, did I just have a stroke or something? I literally pulled the car over. And I'm thinking about, what was that? What did that mean? So I barely slept. I told my wife the next morning, I said, honey, I need to talk to you. And she's like, what happened? Did you wreck the car? What's going on? I said, I heard this voice. It just said, that's it. And I had this feeling of, I shouldn't do this anymore. Kind of like you just stepped out of the house and someone locks the door behind you, kind of a deal. And you're stranded on the porch.
Naked.
Yes. Well, maybe not naked.
Yeah.
The towel?
It felt very odd, and I'd never had anything ever happen like that before. So I thought, okay, maybe God wants me to do something else. This seems to be the theme these days. So I started writing, as I had played with when I was 14 and did a lot of writing. So I wrote a few hundred songs, country, pop, all that stuff. Had some pub deals. That was another bubble that's stressful. I had a few cuts, but people no one's ever heard of. And then some really near misses could have been like big life-changing cuts with people. And at the very last second, get thumped off because one of the usual suspect, 4 or 5 guys gets it. And you're like, I can't live like this either. So I just kind of slipped back into doing sessions again. And then 2 years ago, the whole thing blew up again. So I don't know. I think I need to check into a funny farm or something at this point.
So at what point did you start? I mean, are you at liberty to talk about what ghost producing is? Can we?
Yeah, it's just a way to make money, basically. Somebody else gets the credit and you do all the work. But one guy that I've done probably the highest profile guy, very well known songwriter, producer, and stuff. He's got Oscars and Grammys lying around, and he's in his 80s at this point, but he's still very, very well known. Through a mutual friend, he found me after trying all the DJ crowd in Europe to do some stuff. And they're like, well, what about this old guy in Franklin? So he calls me and we hit it off on the phone, and I start doing work for him, and he loves it. I've never met him face to face. I've FaceTimed with him a couple times. He's got homes kind of all over the world, I think. But yeah, he'll send me stuff. Can you help me with this? And I'll pull up tracks, and it's sometimes they're major artists, you know, and I've never had to sign a non-disclosure, but I don't want to get anybody in trouble or nothing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, I'll do remixes or stuff for him, which is weird. I do a lot of stuff that a lot of people don't know that I do around here. They know I play on country stuff, but, you know, I've done hip-hop, junk, and serious EDM kind of stuff and just whatever. I'm a student of it. But, yeah, I've done some of those things, and I just have him pay me commensurate to whoever I'm working on at the moment. And I'm like, all right, we're just going to double my fee here since I'm not getting credit anyways. And they haven't balked.
So it's a little bit like, for the audience, people who are not in music, it's a little bit like being a subcontractor for a GC.
Yeah.
Would be effectively a good way to describe that.
Yeah. There's been a few times where it's a little disheartening where someone has sent me like a screenshot of a bulletin board of so-and-so. Man, he just blew it out of the park, knocked it out of the park. I mean, of course it's going to sound, and I'm thinking, they didn't play a note of this. Mm-hmm. That's 100% me.
Wow.
So, but it's like, you know what? It is what it is. You got to buy groceries. You got to do what you
As long as the check clears.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a weird business, man. And I've kind of covered the gambit on stuff like production or programming or tuned vocals for people. I'll kind of do anything.
You literally can do it.
I've made cables. I've soldered enough stuff. I'm like, ugh.
Swiss Army knife.
Yeah. I learned how to mix, learn how to work on your computer.
In Dolby Atmos too.
Oh, yeah. Learned how to do that. Still a process.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a student.
It's pretty neat, man.
Always be learning.
Yeah. So, I know we were talking back in the kitchen earlier, but you're kind of saying, all right, maybe this is a new chapter coming up. Maybe it's not. But you said something, God was kind of speaking to you maybe. And then we kind of got a point where we're like, oh, we should probably go on the podcast now. But I felt like we could have kept talking about that.
I can talk about that.
Let's continue. Let's continue.
Well, as you know, I've been kind of on this journey now I was trying to figure it out driving over here. It's about 2 years, but it became, I was involved in this process for 2 years, but I personally got more involved in about the last year and a half, because that's when I went up to Gethsemane and I had my weird experience. And if you guys knew me and the way I operate, you'd get it, because I'm not the guy that's going to believe all that stuff, any of it. I grew up in a very, very legalistic, I know that's kind of a bad word now, but the background was definitely nothing supernatural, even though we believe in a supernatural God, and the idea of resurrection is obviously a supernatural event. But anything day to day or that kind of stuff is conceptual. And to be perfectly honest, I believed in Jesus, but it was always more conceptual than anything else. And we had used the vernacular of, oh yeah, I have a personal relationship, but not really.
But robbed you of the relationship.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You always felt like, I need to read my Bible.
Yeah, it's like humanizing that for people who aren't, I don't know, I don't want to alienate anybody. It's like reading a book about your dad versus actually knowing your dad.
Exactly.
Two very different things.
A great example I had as a guy, and he said, if you were a big NBA follower and, you knew everything, all the triple doubles, 3-point shots, Steph Curry, you knew like every one of his stats, and you could tell what he did in college. you knew everything about him, but if you drove and knocked on his door, would he let you in the house? Well, no, because you don't know him personally. You just know a lot about him. That's a great example. I had studied, I was big into apologetics, and it was always about if I ever get into a debate with somebody over this or that. And now I'm kind of like, why does that matter? I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but even a week ago, a good friend of mine who I really respect was reading this book about, what was it about? Supersessionalism or something, or covenant. And it's like the relationship of how we're supposed to be with the nation of Israel. If God has a special, if the church is now Israel, or if the Israel now is still a special. And I just looked at him and admittedly, I'm an idiot, but I just said, I don't care. I don't care. It's hard enough to have this personal vertical relationship. That's something I can, if I'm interested, I'll study later.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care. I see people get all wrapped up in, was it Genesis 6? They're talking about the Nephilim and thus whether the demons came from that. And I'm like, okay, again, I don't care. I can learn that later.
Yeah.
I want the personal relationship thing. That's important to me, because when this process started, and I don't know how it started necessarily, we were reading a lot of near-death experience like books, which are of that ilk, fascinating. It's like supernatural, crazy stuff. But I think I mentioned before, God starts dropping these weirdos in my life. I called them weirdos because I'd never met people like them before. But they were living like the apostles lived. They didn't care what people thought. They were just all about living for Jesus. And I'd never been around people like that before. I've been around very religious people,
right,
who didn't do anything wrong and they did the stuff right. But these folks that I've gotten to know, their stories. I literally had coffee with a guy, and I told him later, I said, man, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but when you started talking about your experiences, I literally thought to myself, how far away is the car? Because I think this guy's nuts. And I didn't want to hurt his feelings, but I said, I'd never been around people like that. I thought, you're crazy. I've learned since he's definitely not crazy. I just have never experienced it. And I got mad because I never had any of those types of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I'm like, why am I not? I don't get the feelies. I don't get the tingles during worship, or I don't get any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of infuriated by that. So I sort of, I don't want to say tested God or anything. That's not the thing to do. But that's why I fasted again, which if you look at me, this guy's never fasted a day in his life. But I went up to Kentucky just to get away up at the monastery up there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not Catholic or anything, but it's a great place to unplug and be silent for 4 days or 5 days or whatever it is. And that was it. Then it became personal for me because, I had that weird experience up there that I couldn't explain. And every part of my brain wants to explain it. Some things you just can't explain. And I know it makes me look like a nut job. I hate saying this. There's people that live this every day, but to me, it was totally foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's so believable to me. It rocked my world, and he's been doing crazy stuff ever since.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like what I heard you describe is kind of that Nicodemus moment where it's like you grew up with the Pharisees, and now you're seeing the apostles, and for that, it's really foreign. But I do think on a grander scale, I mean, God's always working, but there is like this thing going on. I don't know what it is, country and music and all these different avenues, but I'm here for it. So anyway, you were saying a year and a half ago, that's kind of where you left it.
When I was at the monastery.
Yeah.
I mean, we covered, unless you want me to tell it again. I don't know if you want me to cover that again or.
Well,
get ready for some editing.
Well, no, because we'll release the other one too.
Okay.
But I think maybe like go back to what you were talking about in the kitchen, because it sounded like you've been kind of asking for something.
Oh, that.
And now you have
Yeah.
like some sort of you
Well-
might have an answer, you might have a little like gut feeling about
Thanks for
direction.
clarifying.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm in a cloud today. My whole life is like that right now. Just
No, it's
stuff
okay,
is-
man.
is crazy.
Patience.
Good.
But that was, I have, a dozen of these weird stories, amazing things that I don't understand that God's doing. And it was the more recent one. I was looking at the beginning of September at my work situation and kind of going, all right, God, what are you doing right now? And I felt I'd been praying about it, just feeling sort of unsettled, like what I'm supposed to be doing again. And I thought, well, before, if I needed some kind of clarification or something, I would fast. That seemed to be effective. And so I started fasting again. And I guess because I'm older now, fasting is harder on me physically. I just start feeling really awful after like 3 days. I usually by about day 4, I get this clarity and this weird energy. No, now I just feel like garbage. I get nauseous. I want to lay down and sleep all the time. But I got about 4 days in, and I got this answer of, I thought it was God, but I was confused if it was God or it was me. And basically he was saying, I want you to use your 36 years of skills that you've developed to open doors or to get you into rooms to where you can tell your story or tell my story, basically. And I thought, okay, that's a good answer, but it sounds like I could have come up with that answer. So I was confused if that was God telling me or if that was just me thinking it. So anyways, I ended the fast not long after that. And then about 2 weeks, it's easy for me to end fast.
Wait, and can you repeat?
Yeah.
You said that statement again that was in your head. You used the past 36 years.
Yeah, of like music making experience, all the technical expertise, all that stuff, to open doors or to get me into rooms. I think I wrote it in my phone actually, because the reason I wrote it down is because the same exact answer came up 2 weeks later when our church started a Wednesday night class on how to hear from God. And I thought, that's exactly what I need. So we went, my wife went with me, and we're all sitting at these great big round tables. And there's probably a dozen of these big round tables. And this guy, Matt, who's awesome, is teaching it. It gets real practical, and it's based on this book about 4 keys to hearing from God. And he said, basically, go somewhere that you can get away and kind of be quiet in your mind, and think of a question. Close your eyes. When you close your eyes, just picture if Jesus is in the room, where is he? And don't overthink it. What's the first place you think of? And just picture Jesus there. Ask him the question, and then the first thought that really comes to your mind, write it down. That's probably your answer. So we practiced while we were there, and I did it, and I thought, I'll do it. And the question he put on the board as a test question that sort of resonated with me was, what new areas of your life do you want me, being Jesus, to be a part of? That was my question. So I closed my eyes. We're all sitting around these tables, and everybody's closing their eyes, and I closed mine. And I asked this question in my head, and I pictured Jesus just off to my left with his back against the wall, looking out over the room. And then he looks over at me, and he walks over, and I'm seated in a chair. And so he kneels down, and he puts one hand like on my leg, and he said, I want you to share here's what I wrote. I want you to share our friendship and things that I'm showing you to those you normally interact with and those that you will interact with in the coming weeks. I want you to bring to bear all the talent and skills you've developed to get in key places for sharing. And it was almost exactly what I had thought I had gotten the answer about 2 weeks prior. But again, and I typed all that out and I put it in my phone, and then I sat back, I opened my eyes, and I went, that still sounds like me. And I'm overthinking. That's my thing. If I'm going to do it or think it, I'm going to overdo it or overthink it. That's just the way I operate. So we get towards the end of the class, and the teacher goes, we never really got to introduce ourselves, to get to know people at your table, because we're going to have some, fun over the next several weeks. So he turns us loose, and this woman that's sitting immediately to my left, this blonde lady that looks like she's maybe early mid-60s, I don't know, she turns around and she introduces herself. I introduce myself, and she looks at me with this puzzled expression, and she says, by chance, do you play the tuba? And I started laughing, and I'm like, okay, that's a weirdly random question. No, I don't play tuba. I am a musician, but I do not play the tuba.
I have a tuba plug-in.
Yeah, I've played fake tuba and stuff, but she just had this look, and she goes, I'm just getting tuba. So I'm thinking, cuckoo,
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the class ends, and we go home, and the very next morning, I make coffee for my wife and I. We sit out, and that's kind of our 30 minutes or whatever of time to chill and talk and connect and over coffee. Her phone buzzes, and she said, oh, I got a text from so-and-so from the thing last night. And I said, it's not that crazy lady that said I was the tuba player. And she goes, oh, actually it is. And she said that she read the text. It was something like, tell your husband I'm sorry if I freaked him out, but I just kept seeing tuba, and I prayed into that, or I think that's the way she said it, and ask him if he's ever heard of Tubby the Tuba, because it might mean something to him. And so I'm just sitting there going, okay, this is nuts. And I Google Tubby the Tuba, sitting there. And just link after link after link show up. And the first video I click on, the original is from 43. Mm-hmm. I could look it up right now. Yeah, there it is. 1943.
Okay. Great.
And they redid it in like 72 or 73 with Dick Van Dyke read it. But it's essentially like you put on a record, and this orchestra plays, and the man goes, this is the story of Tubby the Tuba. And you hear boom, 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 boom. And the orchestra's playing, and the other instruments had all of this, and they made fun of Tubby and blah, blah, blah. I'm listening. I get about 2.5, 3 minutes into this thing, and I'm thinking, holy crap, I'm Tubby the Tuba.
Why?
Well,
you were going to get there. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, this weird enough that this lady looked at me and asked me if I played tuba. That was already bizarre. But I listen and I realize, oh my gosh, this is God answering yet again. And this time he's used a total stranger, because I listened to the whole thing and I'm thinking, I believe I know what it's saying, but the dubious part of my nature is still won't let go to the fact that this can't be what I think it is. So I click over to ChatGPT and I'm like, give me a summary of Tubby the Tuba. And of course, I mean, it literally, I'm just riffing here, but it says something like, the story of Tubby the Tuba is about a tuba, and he's always been in the orchestra. He's always been in a supportive role. Ding, ding, ding. I'm a sideman for everybody else. But he has a melody that he's meant to play. It's time for him to step out and do his own thing, whatever. And I come leaping out of the chair and run upstairs my wife had already gone upstairs at this point. She did basically the same thing. She meets me at the corner and she goes, tell me you just listened to that. I was like, I did. We both start laughing. I'm going, okay, I think God goes, look, I tried to tell you twice. You still didn't believe me. So I used a complete stranger and some thing I've never heard of from 1943 or whatever it said, I forgot now, to go, yeah, you're Tubby the Tuba. You need to do this now. So that was a few weeks ago. So now I'm going, what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm that multi-tool, as you call it. I'm like, what does that mean for me to step out and do my own? Is it my own music? Or is it, I'm just, I need some specifics at this point. It's like, all right, God, time to answer again. I need some help here. What does that mean?
Yeah.
And at this point, he's quiet. I don't know.
What does stepping out mean? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. What does that mean for me personally?
Yeah.
I think he's made his point.
What rooms?
Yeah. Or what, for me to play my own melody or whatever, to use that. What does that mean? Production? Does it mean, I don't know.
Huh.
It definitely feels like he wants me to do something, and I'm not sure what that is. So I'm really trying to use that lady's, words to pray into that. What does that mean? And be patient with it. And it's funny, 2 days ago, I was doom scrolling, as we can, end up falling into. And I hit on this guy talking, and he said, God's less interested on, or is God interested in what you want to do? And I was like, oh, that sounds like me. I'm wanting to tell me what to do, what to do, what to do. And the first thing out of his mouth was, God's not interested in telling you what he wants you to do. He's more interested in what he wants you to become, who you're supposed to become. I'm like, okay, well, that makes sense. But you still have to do something to become something. So that's currently where I am. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what that looks like. So every day is a new day.
Interesting. I love that, dude. I feel like I'm watching a movie, like, and I'm at this point where I'm like you're the main character I'm watching, and I'm expecting something now, which is neat. And you are literally expecting something because you've gotten these reminders.
It's weird. Even when I start talking about it, I'm literally maybe it's the caffeine, but I'm just sitting here trying to figure this out, and my whole body is like tingling.
Yeah.
Because I'm so anticipatory of what do you want to say? Because most of my life I never heard from him, so that I didn't think. And now he's definitely doing, and I wish he did more, frankly. I get frustrated because I want stuff like every 10 minutes, do something weird that I can
well, it's the balance of doing something but also listening, and saying, discerning.
And reading, and you can't have all experiential, then it's all about feelings and all that stuff. Yeah. And I'm trying to weigh that with, he definitely speaks through his word. It needs to be in spirit and in truth. Yeah. So God, but without the experience, it can get dry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You said something interesting, and scrap the podcast. This is just like,
I said something interesting?
A lot of things.
Stop it.
Yeah. But you said to become something, you have to do something. And I mean, I challenge that.
Meaning it maybe do nothing, but you're still doing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like to become something, you have to be something, right?
No, well, in other words, instead of, I was waiting for I was waiting for marching orders.
Right.
Like, I want you to get up in the morning, and I want you to A, B, C, and D. And I think what this preacher, pastor, whatever was saying is, he's not so much interested in having you do something as you becoming a different kind of person, becoming somebody instead of just doing something.
Okay, so to that
makes sense.
Yes. So to that, do not be afraid.
Right.
Right? Like, that's one of the most, you see that in the Bible, like, I don't know how, it's like one of the most common sentences. Do not be afraid.
Yeah.
To my ears, in the church that I grew up in, it was a command. Do not be afraid. But to look at it another way, it's like, do not be afraid. It's like speaking to identity. Like, I didn't design you to be afraid. I'm just reminding you that you aren't that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still a tough thing to grasp hold of, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, identity, that's a tough one. Because we're so wrapped up in what we do.
Right.
Is our identity.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was at the place where if he was to tell me in one of my crazy stories, he goes, Roach, I want you just to sell all that crap and go teach kindergartners. I'm like, I'm there. I'll do it. I'm totally on board. And that's when that crazy answer of, I want you to use your skills of whatever years to get you into places. And okay, how? So I'm definitely not afraid. If anything, I'm impatient. And he's teaching me either just to shut up and wait, Maybe he's not giving me all these answers because he knows I'm not ready for it yet. I don't know. But I get frustrated because I wish he was just rattling, talking to me all the time or showing me something all the time. I'm hungry for that now, if that makes sense.
This fires me up because you've been in it. You've been in it for 36 years. You're so old, man. No, you've been in it. You've done, and it's like there's this newness. There's this new chapter that I know that you're just starting, and being led into. But man, you've been in this creative sphere for a while now, and now it's like, all right, man. There's something even bigger. There's something next.
Right.
that's neat. That
I want
fires
in
me
there
up.
now. It's like, let me in. I want to do it. Give me a spot. I'm all about it. Whatever that means. And the fact that I don't know, it's just like you're being in this big dark room, just running around hoping to hit a wall.
Yeah. Well, last time we talked, I remember I asked.
Well, hang on.
Go ahead.
If you're running around in a room trying to hit a wall, run one direction. Right?
Yeah, well, yeah, you could do that too.
I'm just saying.
We're getting off the rails now, man.
We are. I mean, Tubby the Tuba was the melody.
Yeah. Like I'm Tubby the Tuba, and I'm going, okay, I'm trying to apply, that's my thing. I'm looking for a formula. Maybe it's not a formula.
You're analytical.
Yes.
Also a gift.
It's so frustrating.
Well, this is this is not me telling you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But this is
tell me what to do.
This is example of one way.
Yeah.
Last time we talked,
Mm-hmm.
I asked, okay, what's next for you? What would be your dream or one of your dreams? And you said, and I said, like, if you could just say right now. I know you mentioned one of them was just working with up and coming artists and developing them. That was one of them. And I know that was at the tail end and we didn't get to talk too much about it, but I don't know if that still means something to you or if that's something that's like part of your dream. Cause I know that was probably a year ago when we talked. So
was it a year ago?
Was it?
Probably everything was a year ago. It feels like.
Good grief. Wow. I mean, I do enjoy that process, provided there's not a bunch of crazy strings where, sometimes a young artist they don't quite know who they are yet. So, and they're more interested, a lot of times they're trying to emulate somebody that's already out there, like a bad knockoff of that, instead of going, why don't we spend the time, before we spend your money, let's spend the time on figuring out what your voice is. But see, even that, because of what's happening with me spiritually, is changing too. Because if I'm Tubby the Tuba, that's
supportive.
Upset the whole apple cart here. Because if that's the case, I can make content. I used to hate that word, but music, my own stuff, all day long. I get singers where I'm basically an artist because I'm writing all the stuff, playing all the stuff, coming up with the concepts. Get vocalists or get whatever, trombone player, it doesn't matter, to come in and do it. I'm just trying to figure out exactly what that is. I mean, I mentioned Fatboy Slim. He's an artist, basically. He's not singing anything. He just comes up with the music and releases it. And a lot of the guys that I like, they don't even necessarily tour. They just put music out. But see, again, who knows what that's going to look like in the future, because without live music, AI is going to, that complicates things. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot. I'm in a dark room, but it's filled with question marks somewhere that I'm bumping up against a lot. So there's a lot of question marks. But again, that's why it's, I guess, a faith thing. I'm going, all right, God, supernaturally, give me something. Give me another Tubby the Tuba type situation.
So is
it's the best place to be.
Tubby the Tuba. So developing an artist is not necessarily your Tubby the Tuba. You don't think?
I don't think so.
Okay. So that's.
I don't think so. Otherwise, that it wouldn't be my melody; it'd be somebody else's. If I'm to take that example literally,
yeah. But if it's an artist that has potential and needs direction, couldn't they be leveraging your melody?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But that might not be your thing. That might not be what you want.
I've had good experiences doing that, and I've had bad experiences doing that. I just know that it left to my own devices, I can sit down there if I have a reason or a concept or a reason to do something. I've got 4 or 5 projects I could put out like this. Mm-hmm. But right now it's like, why? No one would hear it. I'd have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in promotion just for somebody to go, oh, that's something new over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've put stuff out before and all of 8 people have heard it. So I'm kind of like, is that worth the time? Mm-hmm. I know I'm talking in circles at this point because I do not know what, I have the capability of doing a lot of things. I just don't know what's worth it anymore. If I'm how I'm involved or to what degree I'm involved or what the goal is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So right now when the phone rings and someone goes, Roach, you want to come play on something? Yeah.
Sure.
I need to buy groceries, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, big picture, I don't know. I'm really relying on him to help me with that at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not super motivated to just go sit down. I had somebody go, you need to make this account and make beats for, it's a company that's really connected at the hip with Sony, which I could do that stuff in my sleep.
Yeah.
And I got on the site and there's 52,000 songs, beats, whatever on there already. And I'm like, well, how in the world is anybody going to notice? I'm just noise at that point. So is that worth it? You know what I mean?
I will say I think working with you, yeah, I still think there's just the ability to show your talent in digestible format in the room. I don't know, I already talked about it, but I think that's a way.
What do you mean?
Like opening, like songs blow up because of who the person is and the story behind the song, and because of some little viral dance or whatever. Like there's some of that. Like the song needs to be good. But I think if there's really good natural, I hate saying the word content. I agree with you. But if there's something that feels like almost inviting to it, to where you as a listener almost know the person just as much as know the song and have digested like the song, that's what makes something attractive.
Are you saying, like, for instance, if I just had cameras or something and I let people in on what I'm doing?
Yeah. I know that sounds miserable, like logistical nightmare.
Well, I don't, maybe it's not. I don't know enough to know if it is or not. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Would people sit around and watch that? I mean,
not everybody, but a lot of people would, because I know that because, I mean, when I was, into my college career, I was diving into the production stuff, like trying to figure out how to work everything. And then I come to your place, you're way past that. You're a grade A musician, producer that knows all the tools, that knows all the buttons, but you have a setup too. You have a way of working. You have a process. Like, that's education. People want that. People that are wanting to make music, I guarantee you people want to see that. But not only that, I think people want to see people working with other people and seeing how other people work in a room, the strengths in a room. Like, were you proud of any of the songs you wrote in Washington? And
yeah, I just put a work tape of one of them together this morning and sent it to Jacob. It's this girl's dad. That's a bass player. He's great. And the artist, she's Mabel Lowry. You know Jacob Lowry?
Yeah.
It's Jacob's daughter, Mabel. She's like 19 or something. She's great. Bubbly, very energetic. She's got that 19-year-old energy. Mm-hmm. She's real sweet. And I think we wrote a couple of things, but one of them, it was Jacob that turned me on to Eloise, that British singer that's so good. And Mabel turned Jacob on, who turned me on to it. And so I said, let's write something Eloise-ish. And there was a piano there, so we sat down and came up with a song. It actually started that way, and it kind of turned into Todd Rundgren meets Burt Bacharach in a way.
Yeah.
It has all these crazy chords that it goes to, but it's cool. I think it'll be cool. I just did a quick little demo thing of it and sent him the track so he can, maybe she'll sing on it. He'll play bass and stuff on it. Maybe we'll finish it up. I don't know. Something to do.
I mean, I think what William's tapping on is this, there's an appetite, especially in the landscape that we're in today, where there's so much noise for the story and human part of it, which has kind of been alienated in all the noise. But people love expertise. And I do want to just like pause real quick. I know we're rolling, but like,
oh, we are?
Yeah.
We started.
I know that we've like jumped into this whole conversation, and we're jumping in the boat and wrestling with it, kind of what your experience was. And I just want to be cognizant, like, if you don't want to press into that, that's totally fine.
Dude, I'm an open flipping book.
Good.
Yeah,
care.
good.
Good, because this is
Same.
awesome. This is
I
fucking-
don't care.
But I do think, I mean, a lot of people are wrestling with that kind of thing. I certainly am. I mean, I've been praying for discernment, and God's been showing me some pretty cool things in that.
Well, that I would say the sessions that we did of Blackbird, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Those were fun.
I do like being in a room, especially that room. I mean, that Blackbird Tea is like my favorite place to work. With guys that I've known forever, guys that I love, and that was some really cool music. And we were able to take our time. We're not trying to shove 6 songs into 3 hours and stuff. So that was a lot of fun doing that.
Yeah.
But back to what you were saying, and you were saying, just because I'm old and senile or something, what exactly are you saying that's a suggestion that you think I like? Flesh that out. What are you suggesting that maybe I should do?
Well, we're going to invite you into our strategy too, but it might help you also do your own thing too.
Mm-hmm.
But I was asking, if there were any of those songs or moments that you liked when you were in Washington writing with a team or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's great moments in a room when you're writing. Sometimes there's not good moments. Sometimes it's a boring day or whatever. But when you're writing or collaborating, there's amazing moments that people feed off of each other, like collaborate.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and
you get
answer.
3 people, it kind of creates a 4th brain.
Yeah,
That happens just sort of serendipitously.
yeah. But most of that is not really shown on the internet. It's all retrospective or it's documentary style. It's not from a creative, collaborative lens of putting the pieces together and seeing. I don't know. I already kind of talked about this, but
Yeah.
but going back and forth and saying, what if we did that, or what if we flipped that, or what does that mean to you? Well, this is what happened yesterday, and I was kind of thinking about this, and I thought about this word, and oh wow, that's funny you said that because blah 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 blah, and then all of a sudden you have a verse or whatever, right? You have this idea or this perspective that you want to write towards, and you're like, well, let me just start playing. Whatever it is, and somebody has a melody. It's that building, that like collaboration that is that's missing from the noise.
Yeah, I see what you're
And
saying.
I think that would help some stuff shine through. To answer your question, like, okay, well, I have all this stuff. Well, what if you had not only these songs, but the content behind it of the collaboration?
Man, you have to kind of capture everything. Like the very
Yeah,
first song I wrote up there was with these 2 girls. I literally didn't know these 2 young women, and they vanned us down to the guy that owns the whole property. He had this big, beautiful Steinway piano in his living room.
Mm-hmm.
So I just said, hey, before we do anything, let's just talk a little bit and get to know one another. It's hard to just jump in and just shove a song, let's go. We're going to write a song. And we get to talking, and one of the girls she gets real emotional, start talking about what she's going through and all that stuff. And she said, I'm trying to think she said something that was a title. Oh, she said something that all of this stuff happened all at once. And I said, there's a title right there, All at Once. Mm-hmm. And the more she talked, I just had this idea. So I just got up and I went and sat down at the piano and just started playing this little motif. We had planned to do a very different kind of song, but instead it turned into this ballad, which I don't think they were all keen on doing a ballad, but she just got super emotional and opened up, and I started playing something that was sort of reminiscent of Billy Joel's Lullaby. Remember that song? Mm-hmm. It has this sort of piano riff that it's based. It just immediately sounds almost nostalgic, and it has kind of an old quality to it, like what do you call those things? You open the lid and the little thing dances around, and music box.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It had kind of a very heartfelt thing about that. And we wrote that song that afternoon. It turned out really cool. I haven't demoed it or anything yet. But those are the kind of moments where, maybe I play a melody and then they were both great singers. One of them would sing something and oh, that made me think of this, and
Yeah.
it just kind of happens organically.
Yeah, and I get you can't capture everything.
Yeah.
But what Hill and I have learned too, even just starting this podcast with the cameras and the mics, dude, I forget that we're recording a lot with the
I've
right
already
people.
forgotten we're recording.
Yeah. No, but there's just I forget, and so with the right people,
Yeah.
if there's, you're bringing in a good idea and there's some elements and stuff, that's fine. Maybe you don't have that captured, or maybe you have it captured on a voice memo. That's perfect. That adds to the whole dimensional part of content. It starts with a voice memo, or it starts with a thought in the head. But then if you get to the room and you capture some of that, like Justin capturing some of this, maybe hypothetical. We're at your place and, it's you, me, Hill, Rivers, Rutherford, whatever.
Good old Rivers.
Yeah, whatever it is, and somebody brings an idea or somebody, whatever, kind of bouncing off, and then it just happens. And maybe we fail the first time. Maybe the second time, though, we get a really good song or a really good demo.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe it goes nowhere. Maybe it goes somewhere. But at the very least, we have something that shows collaboration and shows hats in the room, and it shows it's education to me.
The germ of an idea fleshed out, it grows into something.
Oh man,
a seed grows into something.
To me that's education, especially for somebody who's wants to be encouraged to collaborate or wants to know what the writing process looks like, or how people work together, as opposed to talking about what happened, because there's a lot of things that are missed when you talk about what happened retrospectively.
Yeah.
There's a lot of mistakes that were made, but needed mistakes that then led to, I thought we were going to write this song, but then we wrote this ballad. That's a part of the process, like trusting that that's okay.
There is kind of a magical thing that can happen. Some days it's drudgery.
Yeah.
It's just work.
Yeah.
And if you got to work really hard, the song will suffer. You probably don't have a great song.
Yeah.
And the favorite song that I've ever written, one of them, I said that the song that my favorite that I wrote 100% is from a female perspective, shockingly. It's like a girl song, and I wrote it in 15 minutes. The whole thing just fell out of me. I don't know why. But other times it's like, it's crazy. You'll have some completely disparate topic. Somebody will, that reminded me of a news thing I saw. And then, I saw that on blah, blah, blah. Did you see this? And then boom, suddenly there's a song idea pops out, or someone will say something. I'm like, that's a great title.
Yeah.
So a few minutes ago, I like how we jumped into this is like, what should I do? And I'm in the boat with you in the sense that we both have very analytical brains. Mm-hmm. And I've started to like realize that when I've always kind of thought of myself as overly analytical, but it's actually a gift. It's just, I'm analytical. Like, less of me, more of God. But in that, I get filled by God and go, it's not about me, but this is a gift that I have to bring to the world. So how does that reorient me? And it's like, the line of like, do not be afraid. Well, it's God speaking. And when God speaks, he creates. So, let there be light, and there was light. It's like, do not be afraid. And I'm not afraid. You know what I mean?
I'm not sure.
Like, I grew up seeing that as a command, hearing that as a command.
Right.
Like, do not be afraid. Like, finger point, like, do not be afraid. That's not, but.
It's hard to apply that.
Yeah, but like, it's this whole thing of doing and being. What do I do? It's like, I'm in that boat where I'm like, I don't really know what to do. And I think that's a really relatable thing. But in answering the question of who am I becoming, it's not really about what I do.
Yeah.
that's just a result of who I am. And who I am is oriented around being who God.
Well, yeah, we're called to be Jesus to people anyways.
So what does that even mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I think the reason I'm in this weird place is because I'm beginning to scratch the surface of understanding what my identity is. Because I've been musician, producer, songwriter, goofball, whatever, for 30-something years, married for 36 years. All of those things that identify who I am has absolutely zero to do with how God sees me.
Yeah.
And I have been feathering my own nest for the majority of my life and thinking about me and what I want to do. And when I suddenly just go, I don't know if any of that has anything to do with what he actually wants me to do. And I just kind of shoved everything into the other room, and I'm standing in this big empty room. That's why I'm kind of like, all right, whatever you want me to do, I'm going to do it. I'm game. My identity is going to be in you. So if you want me to go dig water wells in Tanzania, I'm there. If you want me to play piano on Hill Elliott's thing, I'm going to do that. I'm just open to whatever that looks like at this point. And right now, he's kind of quiet at the moment, which is a little maddening, but I'm trying to rest in that and go, he lives outside of time. I'm always worried about time and efficiency and get to work and all that kind of stuff. But overall, I'm okay with where this is right now, because it's not about what I think. It's not about my happiness. It's not about my ego. It's not about any of that. Everything I thought was important is not at all. You know, and over the last few weeks with what's going on back home with my family, that just definitely reinforces that point. Because in a heartbeat, I could be driving home from this very podcast, get in a car wreck, and then suddenly my family's going, what do we do with all of Dad's junk?
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
So I'm either being Jesus as best I can to other people and trying to figure out what I'm supposed to actually be doing, or I'm somehow feeding my own ego, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
If it doesn't have life in it, I'm not interested anymore, which is a foreign concept to me and to most people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's something there, because, I mean,
he's down at his couch.
As a analytical person, it's tempting to just ruminate on, okay, what's my place? You know, what do I do? You know, all that. And I smoked a lot of.
You're way too young to be asking those questions.
I smoked a lot of pot.
I did not.
But and I'm not recommending that necessarily. But it was kind of a relief for me to wrestle with some of these things, and it's like where I'm at now and how I'm looking at life is like, okay, God, you gave me a gift in this. Don't know what you're going to use that for, if anything. If playing guitar for 15 years brought me to this conversation, great. If there's a career in that, great. I moved to town. I made a good living selling paint jobs, and it was like, well, that's kind of empty too.
Yeah.
You know, growing up in affluent suburbia Atlanta, there was a image that I kind of grew up in the context of. And now I'm like, I don't even care. This doesn't have any life in it.
Yeah.
And the music, having a career and having a all about me thing 7 years ago when I moved to town, that's what I wanted. Now it's like, I don't care.
Well, are you cool with the fact that if let's say music didn't work out, would you be devastated by that, or would you just move on to something else?
I'm always going to write,
I
think. I mean, unless like something just completely happens where I don't have a desire to do that anymore, but it's how I respond and observe and respond. So, I guess
that's awesome though, because I mean, for most of my life, if you were to say, no, you can't cut it in music, or you shouldn't be doing it, I would be devastated, because so much of my identity was wrapped up in that.
Yeah. See, I'm
I'm
oriented.
finally free of it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's a very freeing thing.
Oh man.
I think I'm oriented like, okay, I love making music. I love writing songs. I love collaborating. I love being on a stage, kind of like you had mentioned earlier. That's fun. But I don't go to the stage because it's where I get validation anymore.
Right.
So it used to be that I loved jumping on stage to get the applause and the energy. I mean, there's great things about that. Now I just don't find myself with the same hunger, and I still love to write. I still love to produce. It's not part of who I am, but it is part of what I do.
It's good you figure that out now. See, 36 years, you figure that is permanently imprinted.
Yeah.
It's harder to shake that, because I'm like, well, what else could I do? I can't go back to school at this point. I'm not going to go sell insurance or something. What am I really, what am I good for?
Yeah.
And like I said, luckily my wife is with me on all this. If at the end of the day, I said, babe, I don't know. I'm going to go, like I said, dig water wells in Botswana or whatever. I think she'd respect me more. She'd say, well, I mean, she hates the music industry in general just because of the industry part of it. I love music. I hate the music business. But music is important to me, obviously. It's sound. God spoke things into existence. So I love sound. That's why I love synthesizers and all that kind of stuff. But it ain't about me, we are really all over the place today.
That's great.
No, I'm telling you, this is great. This is good.
Yeah.
I feel like when I was the gelatinous blob, we had a better talk. Out of focus, the gelatinous blob part. So clarify that meant.
No, I actually think they're both great. And
I'm so out of it today. I don't know if I'm offering anything.
no, you are. I think, wait, are you about to say something?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
To answer your question, I would be content with that. Yeah. I don't have a desire for.
That's so valuable, because most guys that want to be artists, their ego is so fragile. And I've got to do this, or, they're devastated. That's why they start drinking heavily or whatever. That's very healthy to go, yeah.
Well, I did the drinking pretty heavily.
Already?
Yeah.
You covered that chapter?
Yeah, I covered that chapter. But I think that, music isn't my purpose. My purpose is to be, a man after God's own heart.
See, and how old are you?
29.
29.
But
see, that's amazing.
It's not about.
That's good.
Thanks. It's not about me. I don't mean to sound amazing. It's just that, God's going to use music somehow in my life. I don't know what that looks like yet.
Yeah.
But the best music that I've ever made has been once I let it go. So it's almost like the songs that I am channeling now, I'm like, I don't care. I really don't care anymore. Like, I sell plastic for a living. I like doing that. I like podcasting. I like making music. I want to do all those things. But I'm so detached from the outcome, or trying to get a publishing deal, or trying to get a record. Like, none of that matters anymore. I just want to do it and sustainably.
All of it is so up in the air now, like what that even looks like.
Yeah.
How do you monetize what we do and make real, unless Taylor Swift makes plenty of money, but there's millions of people after her that don't make anything. Mm-hmm. So you can't be motivated certainly by the money part of it.
Yep.
What I do know is that people resonate with authenticity.
Yeah.
And authenticity is being real with yourself and letting your ego down. And I think that if in today's world, we as humans, we love story. That's what brings us all to music.
Yeah.
And it brings us to, the movies. We love story. And so I do believe that in the world that we live in with Chat GPT and all these AI, all the algorithms, the rare thing is going to be authentic storytelling. That is human.
I hope that's the case. I really do. I thought about starting I'm in a couple of men's groups. I feel like I'm off the mic.
You're good.
And I thought about just having guys over to the house where there's a big bucket right in the front door and everybody has to leave their phones. So it's just about connecting with human experience, and we do not talk technology. None of that is a part of the time. It's just like old school.
Yeah.
I feel like we need that.
We definitely need that. And on top of that, get the religion out of the way and talk. Like,
oh yeah,
this is what I'm going through. This is my struggle. This is like you're ripping the Band-Aid off of and getting to the raw human authenticity.
That thing right there, you just reminded me of something. When I told you about my friend that reading the thing and I'm like, who cares? That was reinforced because another time when I was telling a fellow studio musician one day, we were in the lounge and I'm talking about it's something that had just recently happened. So it was very much on my mind, one of my crazy things. And I told him a couple of things that were happening with me and the way I was thinking now. And I remember he sat back and he goes, oh, you're in that NAR thing. And I said, what? What'd you say? And he said, I think he said NAR, NAR. And I had to look it up later. It was called the New Apostolic Reformation Movement or something. It kind of pissed me off because I didn't even know what that was. I was saying, no, this is what actually is, I've experienced this is happening to me. And I'm like, why as believers do we feel the need to parse each other up into these little cliques and these little groups only to find something to criticize?
Okay, think about that though.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Authentic is unique. And for those of us that aren't resonating at an authentic place, from an authentic place, feel the need to box other people in.
I guess.
Because you have to categorize right?
Right. I'm following the Calvin said this or Luther said, I'm like, so what? I mean, it's hard enough to get, and I grew up pretty much in church. And somebody asked me now, what are you? Are you Baptist? You Methodist? You whatever? I'm like, I follow Jesus.
NAR.
Yeah, I don't.
NAR.
I'm not what it was.
NAR, I'm not.
Yeah, it sounds Australian. But I thought, why do we? That just it upset me. I'm like, I'd never even heard of that before, and I thought, oh, so I'm suddenly now this guy sees me in this box, which obviously there's an opinion about it because it's on Wikipedia or whatever, and I thought I don't even know what that is. I'm telling you what actually happened to me.
Yeah,
I don't want to be affiliated with some. I mean, I guess if it's a movement, I'm sure the way, when the church started was a movement, I guess, but I don't think it seems to be a negative connotation to, oh, I can put you in this box, I can put them in this box, and then we can talk about who's in the right box or the wrong box and what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong. And I'm like, we're all doing wrong.
Yeah.
All of us. Do I think that where you go to church is important? Well, yeah, because I think we need to go to somewhere that's biblically sound, that kind of stuff, and sticks with what truth is, not your truth or you're just the truth. But we do way too much of that critical, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That thing where we're parsing each other up in these little cliques. I'm like, I don't like any of that talk anymore. I just hate that.
Yeah. Okay, this might be a little meta for a second, but
it might be what?
A little meta.
Meta.
Yeah. One thing, like I've been praying for discernment, and part of that has been kind of an experience where it's like I'll be sitting and call it meditating, praying, and it's like I see myself from outside looking at myself. And when I don't know how to skin this cat.
Is this actually happening, or you just imagine?
No. I mean, most of the things that come out of our mouths are projections. I'm realizing. So if I feel detached, if I'm part of me is detached from myself. Let's say I was watching porn or something, and it's like I don't feel fully integrated and connected to myself.
Okay.
Then I might go to my girlfriend and feel like something is missing in the relationship and project what is actually going on in my heart onto her.
Right.
So how that relates is, you're boxing people in and categorizing people, and how I'm analyzing it is based on your capacity to look inward and become more authentic to yourself. So it's like to find offense, call it offense, not be offended, but to find offense in somebody boxing you in just means that that should be affirming. Like, if you're offended by it, that's one thing. But if
I see what you mean.
It's like, that person is not fully, and they're categorizing me, which means that they're probably actually not fully integrated in being authentic to themselves. Because when we really are authentic to ourselves, we could see other people for their authentic selves. Does that make sense?
Man, that's deep, bro. For 29, that's good. Yeah. I wasn't, it's probably too strong a language to say it pissed me off, but it was more kind of a sad observation of, I know the place this person's coming from, because I used to do the same thing, but it just illuminated the fact of this is a big problem. Satan uses all of these tools constantly. If we can bicker and whine and bitch amongst ourselves, we're not doing what he wants us to do. We're finding fault with everything. You know what I mean? This is wrong. This is wrong. Obviously there are wrongs, but we're getting into the minutia of stuff. And I'm like, if I'm not following Jesus, what's the point? I can go to church and I've said in church my whole life. There was an old preacher that said sitting in church didn't make you any more a Christian than sitting in a hen house makes you a chicken. And I thought, well, that's very true. And I used to do that, until still Jesus was always conceptual until he gave me a freaking vision that I mentioned on that other podcast. That's the first time I felt like, oh, he's talking to me. Mm-hmm. I've been here the whole time, he said. He shows me those flowers. I wouldn't have thought of any of that stuff. That tore me up. And then that's affirming too, because it's like, oh, not only is it real, but he knows me personally, and he's giving me these experiences, whatever they are, and how crazy they are. I wish there was more of them. Maybe there will be more of them, like Blake. I'd love to talk with that guy, the dude. Blake, that from Atlanta.
Oh, yeah, Blake Healy?
Healy.
Yeah.
I've just finished his second book.
Mm-hmm.
I want that. He thinks everybody can do that. I'd love to have that ability.
You know what it is, I think, is we're spirit, soul, body. And I think that we grow up in a world where we learn to live from our body, eyes and ears. That's reality.
Yeah.
But then there's our soul part of us that's our mind and our heart. And oftentimes we kind of come into the world broken and detached, and or maybe, I don't know, maybe we start connected and detached. But really, when you get down to what authenticity is, it's being able to, my current perspective, I could be wrong, but it's sinking from our head, especially analytical people, sinking from our head into our heart and being able to fully connect with that. Because I think the way that we were designed to live, our spirit's in right standing with God. It's a new creation. Live from that through your soul out of your body. And we as a people learn to live from our body, maybe or maybe not be in touch with our soul. And we could say the prayer and we are a new creation, but never really have an orientation from that.
It's that muscle that gets sore the first time you use it because you didn't know it was there.
Yeah. And the reality is like when you are living from that restored place through the soul, first of all, your soul gets cleaned up and connected, but then out of your body, your mouth speaks.
I'm definitely, I'm definitely that guy that's aware of that. I'll try that again. My brain is just not working today.
I think it's working just fine, Jeff.
It's like, it's the intuitive part, the imagination part. That's so connected with the spiritual world, which all the people I read are like, dude, that is more real than the physical that we're sitting in right now.
Yeah.
But we don't experience it because we're not what does he say? We don't have a soul. We are a soul that has a body.
Yep.
And our existence, our senses are saying this is reality, when the reality is we're kind of in the matrix. The spiritual part's more real than this. And the way God communicates is so foreign to the way I've always operated. Did I tell you the little black rock story?
No, please do.
I'd met this guy's becoming a really good friend of mine. His name's Rufo. Ruffo. He's from Southern California. He's like the coolest dude. He's actually a little older than I am, and he still surfs when he's there in California, skateboards, and like the California guy, right? So we meet on every other Monday night with another friend of mine, Clint, out of his place, and there's only 5 guys in it, so it gets deep quick. And we're all sitting around talking, and those guys, except for Rufo and I, we're the newbies. They have got the great stories. They're deep into it, right? And so I'm about a year ahead of Rufo, but this is about a year ago. And this is where the intuition part, this is when you know that God's got a funny sense of humor. This was one of my very first little stories. I'm sitting on a couch, Rufo's on the other side of it. My friend Clint, I'm peppering him with questions about all of this stuff that I'm dubious of. And he finally leans over and he goes, all right, Roach. He goes, you've got balls of steel. Let's just play a little game. I said, okay. He said, close your eyes. So I closed my eyes. He said, all right, imagine you're on a beach. I don't guess it matters, but just put yourself, imagine you're on the beach. He said, you there? And I'm like, yep. He said, all right, Jesus is going to walk up to you. And I said, all right, I'm thinking maybe he looks like, Jonathan Rumi. He goes, stop it. You're doing it already. You're overthinking. Don't overthink it. Just go with it, So I didn't know that the other guys in the room were also with their eyes shut. I didn't realize that they were doing it with me, but it was directed at me. So he says, all right, he's going to walk up to you, and he's got something in his right hand. He's going to show you to in 1, 2, 3. What is it? And I said, okay, it's weird. It's a little black rock, shiny black rock. That's the first thing that popped in my head. He told me, he said, don't overthink it. What's the first thing? And I said, that's it. He goes, okay, that's weird. Ask him, what does it mean? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, not really getting anything. He goes, okay, that's fine. It's you know what? He's got something in his left hand. It's 1, 2, 3. What is it? And I said, it's a feather. It's about 10 inches long. It's white. It came like super quick. He said, all right, what does that mean? I said, the first thing that came to my mind was, and it sounds like a me answer, was he's saying, hey, I've got you, like in my wings. I'm protecting you. So I opened my eyes, and one of the guys, Seth, this big muscly guy, sitting across from me with this grin on his face. I said, what are you smiling at? And he goes, I saw a feather too. I said, what? He goes, we were all doing it. And he goes, you didn't know because your eyes were shut, but we were all doing it. So I thought, okay, well, that's, learning to that first thought thing, that intuition part, which you're not used to doing. I thought, well, that's interesting. I saw this little black rock or whatever. No big deal. So we finish up our Bible study talk, and Rufo, who I literally had just met that night, it's his first time there. Before we leave, he goes, hey, before everybody leaves, I got to tell y'all something. And we sat back down. It's like, what? I said, a couple years ago, I had failed to pass the bar. He comes from a line of like 3 or 4 of people in his family. They're all attorneys. Mm-hmm. And he said, I was humiliated. This is when he lived in L.A., and he said, I had the house to myself. I grew up Catholic. My son is super in love with Jesus and all this stuff. And the way he talks, I just felt like I just started praying. He said, I was the only one home, and I'm walking around, and I'm just praying out loud. Like, God, I'm embarrassed by this. My dad's, my granddad, everybody, I've just let everybody down. What's going on with my life? I'd love to believe in something outside of me. And if you're real, I wish you'd just give me some kind of sign, anything. And he goes, bang. There was this loud bang on his roof. He thought, what in the world? It disturbed his prayer. So he runs out on the porch and he hears tink, 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 tink. And what's right between his feet? And he looks straight at me and he goes, a shiny black rock. And I said, get the hell out of here. And he's looking at me with this funny look on his face. I'm like, are you messing with me? And he goes, no. And I've only told one other person that because he said it was middle of the day, Los Angeles. This thing like fell out of the sky. I have no idea where it came from. There's no high rises around me. Beautiful, clear blue sky, and a rock hit my house so hard and lands right between my feet. And he goes, I can't believe you said that. And I'm thinking they're messing with me.
Yeah.
But then I realized that God kind of killed two birds with one stone that night. It's like he kind of fooled
No
with
pun
us.
intended.
Yeah, what's exactly. And that was just one of many of those kind of things like that. But that's the intuition thing of don't overthink it, which I'm so prone to do. You know,
It's also being in touch and cognizant of a greater reality
Yeah.
than our body.
so that 4-part going somewhere and picturing Jesus asking a question, what's the first thing, and then write it down kind of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to do that a lot because that's that muscle. It's out of shape or it's just never been used. And I'm trying to get in touch with all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been doing that a lot lately going, all right, what do you want me to do today? Work wise, what am I, it's such a process. It's such a weird process. And I like being busy. So it's tough for me to just sit and listen and wait.
I can relate to that. Yeah.
I'm better when I'm busy, and the busier I am, the more efficient I am. So I like to be working.
Yeah.
What
I
would-
mean, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, to wrap up, like, I'm just curious, like, as you go through this next journey, if it is still like music or creative, what would you say right now? What's the biggest thing you like? Where do you get most of your joy in the creative process right now?
Great question.
Give me a couple of weeks. Like I said, when I came in today, I wasn't sure this. You might have to go back to the version of this, because with everything that is outside of what's happened to me personally, what's going on with me personally as far as career and all that, what's going on with my family back home, my brother and my dad being where they are right now in their life. There's so many things. I feel like plates are spinning right now that nothing is settled. I have no idea. I can't even imagine like what would inspire me at the moment. It's going to take a lightning bolt out of the sky right now to go, hey, or God to give me one of those Black Rock kind of moments again. Yeah. Because I'm just in this weird malaise right now where I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what is happening. I'm okay with it, shockingly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make me sad. It doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me anything. I'm just in this weird nebulous place, philosophically, emotionally, everything. And maybe it's because like the news about, what's going on with my dad and my brother, their health hasn't really hit me yet, maybe, or something. I don't know. It's just a really weird spot.
Could it be a sense of peace in a place where you wouldn't have previously found it?
Could be. But my analytical brain hasn't landed on that particular square yet.
Yeah. I mean, me too.
But the fact that you're thinking about this stuff at 29 that's a good sign. See, I'm 58. I'm just now starting to figure it out.
I mean, I'll probably be figuring stuff out at 58 that I.
Yeah. But you're asking good questions now. That stuff wouldn't even been on my radar at 29. So I wish I could answer that question.
That's all right.
I literally 2 days ago put the headphones in and just started scrolling all the new music, what's coming down, you're on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. And there's a lot that's out now that I'm like, ugh, heard it before.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of meh. There's a lot of that. There's nothing right now that I'm going, man, that just blows the skirt up in the best way. Nothing.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hadn't had my skirt blown up in a while.
Well, I'm just saying that nothing, nah. Or maybe I'm just, I'm emotionally in a place where I'm just incapable of that at the moment. I don't know, but I don't even seem to care right now. I'm just in that place waiting to see what's next or to come out of this. Could be a dietary thing. Who knows? But it's weird. This has been going on now for a few weeks.
I think God's calling you to make a new sound that makes you feel refreshed. And I don't know what it is.
I'd be into that.
Or to be one.
Yeah,
Whatever this tubby tuba thing.
This tubby tuba genre.
I'm telling you,
genre
man,
now.
that
Tuba
has
genre.
just really screwed me up. Because I'm like, what does that mean now? Because it's 3 times. 3 times means something. He's told me 3 times.
Yeah.
And what does that mean?
Yeah.
So now I feel the pressure to do something, but I'm not getting any inclination of what that is yet. So maybe the next time we talk, I'm like, I got it. I know what it is.
Yeah. We'll have you on immediately whenever that is.
I'm hoping that's the case.
Or if you just find yourself in it. So, well, Jeff, thanks for coming on again.
Oh, yeah. You'll probably want to use the out of focus one, though.
Nah, man. No, this is great, dude. This is great.
Awesome.
Thanks again for coming. And
absolutely.
Until next time.
Love hanging with you guys. I feel like I'm leeching some youth in, some of that young energy.
I love it. That's what we're here for.